I'm Molly Miller, and I'm in my final class at Liberty University, and will soon have a degree in early childhood education. I'm sharing this video with you not only to fulfill my degree requirements, but to inspire you as parents. Parents, teachers, parents who have become teachers in light of schools across America closing. Today, I want to share the importance with you of reading aloud to your children. I'm sure you've already been told about the importance of reading to your children. You may even have heard of the word gap, but in case you haven't, it's the number of words that separates children when they enter kindergarten from children who have been read to on a frequent basis to children who are not often read to. A study conducted by Ohio State University found that a child who was read to seldomly or never, mathematically speaking, about 0.11 times a week, is only exposed to 4,662 words by the time they reach their 5th birthday. If a child is read to 1 to 2 times a week, or 1.5 books per week, by the time they reach their 5th birthday, they've been exposed to 63,570 words. That is a huge difference, but the word gap gets even bigger. If a child is read to every day, totaling about 35 books per week, by their 5th birthday, they're exposed to 1,483,300 words. That's over 1 million words different between the child who was never read to and the child who was read to 7 days a week. Wow. So now I'm guessing you're wondering, okay, how do I start reading to my children? When do I do it? What do I do? What do I read? My library is closed. How do I get books into my home? I'm going to try to answer some of these questions. But first, before we get to all of these questions, can I be honest with you? Reading aloud might not look exactly like you pictured it. I pictured me with my kids sitting in my lap, reading a book, actively engaged, and sometimes it happens that way. But I'll be honest, a lot of times it doesn't happen that way at all. My toddler is running around the room and my 6-month-old is trying to eat the very book that I'm reading. Put all of those notions aside. Your child is still listening. They might just have to wiggle a little. Jim Trellis talks about this in his Read Aloud handbook. I'll talk a little bit about that book later. But here's an idea. Your 6-month-old that wants to chew on the book, give them a teething toy. And the 3-year-old or whatever year-old you have that's running around the room, provide them with something else to do. Maybe they are coloring while you're listening. Maybe they have a fidget toy that they're playing with in their hand. There's a couple ideas that can really just provide them a way to move while you're reading, and I promise you, they're still listening very intently. Okay, so how do you start? I would suggest building reading into your daily routines. For us in our household, we bathe our kids, get them dressed for bed, and snuggle up with a book or two. This has become a predictable routine that our 3-year-old can expect to happen. He actually looks forward to it and begs for more books. Maybe because he loves reading, maybe because he likes to delay bedtime. But regardless, we're reading and creating lasting memories together as a family. Another place to read is the bathtub. You have a captive audience in the bathtub. If those two ideas don't work in your household, maybe you can read at the dinner table. If your children take a long time to eat, like mine sometimes do, I can pull out a book when I'm finished eating and read to them then, and have conversations about what we're reading and what we're learning together. Have you ever had an afternoon that is just falling apart? I have. And in those moments, I just go and I grab a book and I start reading aloud to my child. Sometimes he doesn't want to read, but after a while, he'll come cuddle up on the couch next to me and read the story, and the rest of the afternoon is better because we've taken a moment to engage in another story that's not our own and just spend time together. So I would ask that you would take one of those ideas and try to implement it. Teachers, a great time for you to try to implement reading is right after lunch. Everybody kind of has that sleepy lull right after lunch, but what if you got out a very exciting book and creatively and animatedly read the book aloud to your students? I bet that after lunchtime might become a little more fun and something that your students look forward to. Take in mind your students or your child's attention span. So I mentioned I have a 6-month-old. Jim Trellis in his studies have found that the attention span of a 6-month-old or an infant is about 3 minutes. That's probably one book, maybe 2 if it's a board book. So keep in mind that it doesn't have to be this lengthy time all at once, but you can break up your reading times to several chunks throughout the day. Now, for some reading resources. First off, I have to say that the public library, especially in Mesa, Arizona, is wonderful. So go to your library when they're open, but for now, you can go online and you can get your library card. I've had this for several years now, but it is going to be very important for you to have this library card because you're going to need the number on the back to access some awesome free resources. Like I said, when your library is open, go to the library. They have story times, they have books that you can reserve in advance and just go pick them off the shelf without having to chase your children around the whole library. It's wonderful and something that you should definitely check out. But since we can't go there, here are some online resources for you. Now, a disclaimer, because I know that this is a hot topic versus a hard copy book and an e-copy book, but I want to let you know that the University of California did a study with preschoolers, and they found that preschoolers learn equally well, if not better, from an ebook than they do from a hard copy paper book. I'm not saying that I want to totally go to e-learning and e-reading all the time, but in these times, it's okay. They found that it's useful. Now, these ebooks that they are talking to are not ebooks with all the bells and whistles that have games built into the app. This is just a simple ebook that you would still read aloud to your family, because the researchers did find that the best reading that was taking place with an ebook was reading that was taking place between a parent and a child together at the same time. So now that we have that out of the way, here are some online resources. You've got your library card. Go check out Libby, Overdrive, or RB Digital. All 3 of these resources are free and provide you with ebooks or audiobooks to check out. The next one is one of my son's favorites. It's called Books. You can try it for a month free if you sign up online, or it's a paid subscription at $4.99 a month or $49.99 a month. And the books can be accessed through your phone on the app or a website. The books are beautiful. They take the original illustrations and animate them and read the book aloud to the children. We can watch books online for hours. Teachers, they have even started providing lesson plans and follow-up questions to ask. Parents, you may want to check that out too. What about Amazon Prime? A lot of us have it. Most of us probably don't use it to the capability that we could. Just so you know, Amazon has free children's books that you can download onto your tablet or your phone and read them aloud. Not only do they have free children's books, but you can sign up for Amazon's First Reads for parents. Again, free ebooks right to your tablet of choice. Another resource that I recently learned about is called Story Online. It provides books being read online through a video. This is a free resource, and teachers, it's specifically one that you're going to want to check out because you can sort it by the title of the book, the reader of the book, grade level, and the runtime. On top of that, there's an activity guide included that can help enhance your teaching. So parents, teachers, now I have some books for you specifically. I've mentioned it a few times before, but this is the Read Aloud Handbook by Jim Trellis. It's a great resource full of statistics and a list of do's and don'ts, and at the very back, he calls it the treasury. There's a treasury of books to read aloud with your family. He gives a brief description of each book, what year it was published, the grade level of the child that you could be reading it to, and it's full. I want to read all of these books with my kids. The second one I've become a huge fan of. This is The Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie. I started with this book and I was just captivated by the stories that she shares of reading aloud to her children. And so I found that she has a podcast to listen to with over 100 episodes that are just full of great information about learning to read with your child. She also has a website. Both her website and the back of her book include a list of books to read. She breaks it down too by age group and by picture books or novels, biographies, just Bibles that you can read together. It's quite amazing. So I hope all of these resources are providing you with a sense of excitement and not overwhelming you. If you've never read to your child before, that's okay. Just start. Just try placing some books around your house, face up, so that your child can see the illustration on the cover and get excited about reading. Parents, teachers too, we have to practice what we preach. So if your child sees that you are reading, they are going to be excited about reading too. If you're willing, will you close your eyes with me for a moment? Think about your child or your children. What do you want for them in life? Who do you want them to become? What experiences do you want for them? What character qualities do you want for them? If you're like me, I can become easily overwhelmed with all I want to accomplish in the short years that I have with them. But the truth is, when we read, we can take our children on adventures. They can experience things from our home that may never be able to experience in real life. They can learn from the characters of the book about triumphs and failures and never have to experience what that character is going through to learn what the outcome of a certain event is. Books can truly prepare our kids for the real world. It's not just about reading and gaining words and learning how to read. It's about an experience. It's about bonding with our children. It's about creating lasting memories. They can read 1,000 books and experience 1,000 stories so that they're ready to embark on their own journey. So I hope this project has been beneficial to you and that I've been able to demonstrate the core values of Liberty University. Liberty University wants their students to live out biblical principles in their life and in their teaching. So these are provided through a framework called SCRIP. And I'm going to take the time now to show that how I have demonstrated and embodied these areas in my project. The S stands for social responsibility. In this video, I have demonstrated the understanding that all students have the ability to learn and experience through books. I understand that every family is different and every family has different resources available to them. So I've tried to provide free resources as well as paid resources so that everyone can have books in their home and in their hands. The C stands for commitment. I believe that I have demonstrated commitment in this video because I have spent a lot of time preparing and reading and listening to podcasts so that I can provide the best information that I can to the people who are watching this, you. R stands for reflective. And just like I said before, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on what is the best strategy. How can I best equip you as parents and as teachers to read to your children? The I stands for integrity. I've shown integrity by seeking out trustworthy sources and making sure that they're properly cited and credit are given to the authors of the studies that I've cited and the books that I'm using. I feel that my materials that I'm using are appropriate for children and family. I have no question about whether the material is trustworthy and credible. Finally, the last letter is P for professionalism. And I've demonstrated professionalism both in my appearance, the video, the PDF file that I'm going to attach with this video, as well as my language and my dress. Hopefully I've demonstrated that I also believe that learning can happen for all people and that it's a lifelong process. So I hope that this video has really inspired you to read. Read to your children, read for yourself, read for enjoyment, read for education. Just never stop reading. Thank you.